Hey everyone, welcome to episode 119. We're not going to bother with the player. I don't think people want a history lesson right now. We are live. It is Sunday, November 5th, in the aftermath of the Dolphins' weird, disappointing, frustrating 21-14 loss against the Kansas City Chiefs. And the only thing I have to say is, what the hell was that at the end of the game, Omar?
I think the first thing that we need to get away is our ruling whether that was a bad snap or just a regular snap. And I think that's what all of Dolphins Nation is debating. I will weigh in first. I looked at that clip about 5 times. Even when you look at the hash marks where on the field, Connor Williams is to the right of the hash marks. The ball is snapped. The ball is snapped to the right of the hash marks, exactly where it should have been. I'm not ruling that as a bad snap, and I promise you Tua Tagovailoa will not say it was a bad snap or put blame on Connor Williams. More than likely, Connor Williams will probably put blame on himself.
Correct, because that's what those guys do, and absolutely. Was it a perfect snap? No, it wasn't a perfect snap. Just like, for example, Tyreek Hill had a drop of a highly catchable ball from Tua in the first half, which actually was a good throw. It wasn't a perfect throw. It was a little bit ahead of him. Hill could have extended a little bit more, could have even left his feet, which is something you don't see Tyreek do almost ever, is leave his feet to catch a ball. He could have done that. This was another one where, it wasn't a perfect snap. Probably should have handled it. And then this came, of course, like right after the next play or the 2 plays after the ball slipped out of Tua's hand when he looked like he had Cedric Wilson open down the left sideline. So
was that a slip out of the hand or a miscommunication? I don't know the situation. I think we will probably get more clarity from Tua. But this was a situation in a moment where Tua needed to be big in a critical moment in a big game on a big stage, and he pooped the bed. And there's no other way to say it. And I'm not blaming the entire loss on Tua, but just like we got into a situation, which was it, the Eagles game where we threw an interception in the red zone, when you had the opportunity to, close to basically close the scoring margin, and put your team in position to make this a challenging game. Here you are in position to tie the game or potentially win, which probably would have been crazy, but Mike McDaniel does crazy stuff. You're in position to tie the game, and here you go having 2 errors on a critical drive after Raheem Mostert gets you into scoring territory. And everybody has their fault. Raheem Mostert put the ball on the ground. Phenomenal knockout. I always say turnovers are luck. Well, that turnover wasn't luck. That guy could have broke his hand punching at that ball.
Yeah, but the Dolphins recovered that one.
Yeah, I know they recovered that one, but it was such a interesting game. Such a emotion-filled game. Do I feel like the Dolphins can do battle with the Kansas City Chiefs? Yes, they can. Do I feel like the Dolphins can beat the Kansas City Chiefs? No, I don't. You do?
Yes, they can.
I didn't see that in that performance, that effort.
And here's the thing. Dude, they got a fluky touchdown against them late in the first half when Tyreek fumbled. And I will tell you this. I think there might be something to be said, and people before the game were talking about this, no offense, but the stupid travel issue. Are we clear on that it doesn't make a difference now? I think there might have been something to be said for maybe some Dolphin players being too hyped up for this game, and I think maybe Tyreek Hill would be at the top of my list because he did not. Wow. Tyreek Hill did not have a good game, period. I mentioned the pass in the first half. There was a pass in the fourth quarter that went right through his hands. I was a little bit behind, a little bit high, but it's still highly catchable. And then he had the fumble at the end of the first half. And then you give credit to the Chiefs for what they did against him, just like give credit to the Dolphins for what they did against Travis Kelce.
But I am not going to put blame on Ty. Yes, he dropped 2 passes that he should have caught. That probably would have got him over 100 yards, but he had 8 receptions off 10 targets for 62 yards. I can't do it. I can't say that a guy has to be perfect when he puts on the cape every Sunday. This isn't the first game that he's dropped passes. And I don't feel like these passes that he dropped cost him the game. I mean, literally, this was a slugfest from defenses. Both teams had less than 300 yards of total offense. Miami actually edged Kansas City with 292 yards of total offense. But what I will say is, Miami had success relatively running the ball, especially Raheem Mostert late, 114 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Tua had an 87 passer rating, which we know is not Tua, throwing for 192 yards on 21 of 34. But Patrick Mahomes, 105.6. And then you can see, that's his passer rating. You could see Miami's play calling, game strategy is to not give him back the ball, not give Kansas City back possession, despite the fact that they hadn't scored. So, I would rather put the blame more on play calling and Mike McDaniel before I put it on Tyreek, because he dropped 2 passes. I'm
not putting it on Tyreek, but if you're going to play that game, they lost by 7, and at a time when they were driving to kick at the very least a field goal to get 3 points, you gave away a touchdown, which is 7 points. That's a 10-point swing, and you lost by 7. So if we're going to put the blame on anybody, and I don't want to do that. No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay. So we're factoring in the drops, and then we're also factoring in the fumble lost.
Dude, that's not the play of the game.
You're right. If you throw in, because I didn't factor in the fumble loss. So wow. So there were 2 passes that he dropped. And then there was the fumble lost that led to 10 points when you're in scoring territory. That's 10. Then we get into make some of those catches. You get yourself in the scoring territory. Okay. You're making a solid case, solid argument. The evidence is stacking up against Tyreek Hill. Not that I feel comfortable blaming him for this loss. But if Tyreek would have performed up to our standards, maybe it wouldn't have been a loss.
Correct. Dolphins win. And I will also tell you this, and I'm going to be completely transparent here, since I've been on the Tyreek deserves to be in the MVP conversation. I am fairly convinced he basically limited himself today with this performance, because it was a big game. And if you put the blame on one player for this loss, I'm not so sure it's not him. And a wide receiver has basically 0 margin. And whatever margin he may have had, that to me, that conversation.
Wait a minute. A quarterback who has the game in his hands on 2 critical plays, having a what the F moment. No blame, some blame.
Yep, of course he had. They threw 4. There were 3 straight incompletions after the 2 long Raheem Mostert runs, and including one where he has Wilson open. And I believe the NFL Network people after the game were saying clearly that the ball slipped out of his hands on the play to Cedric Wilson. But again, the quarterbacks have the margin for error. The wide receivers don't. So
why do you say the quarterbacks have the margin for error? Explain this thought process to me.
Because it's the nature of the award and all that. And I'm not stupid.
You're talking about the MVP? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the loss.
No, I understand that. I don't want to put blame on the loss on one particular player, but you're completely absolving Tyreek, and I wouldn't go there.
I took it back. I reject. I withdrew my case. I withdrew my case, and I would
down the stretch. Even then, down the stretch, the Dolphins had the ball not once but twice, where they got into KC territory. And the other drive, I know I saw you took a shot at Savon Ahmed. I'm pretty sure it was after the 6-yard loss on that first down pitch. But I want you to tell me exactly what shot he had on that particular play. Where Durham, I'm sorry, let me finish. Where Durham Smythe got completely beaten off the play. I think it was Willie Gay who beat him and was in the backfield to meet Ahmed.
I feel bad always saying this, and I've said this lately because it feels like a knee-jerk reaction to actually being a Savon Ahmed endorser, and then having to turn coat and apologize and withdraw my, he can be an impactful player. But now I sit there and I watch all these plays and I say to myself, why the hell? Okay, he's on the field. You could be a decoy. I promise you, it's okay. Nobody's worried about you as a decoy. But when he's on the field, the ball is going to him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, come on, Mike McDaniel. I would rather you put Jeff Wilson in those situations than Savon Ahmed, because he hasn't proven he could do anything in the regular season.
But
Yeah, and to me, as I tweeted out a Loki GIF from, I guess, the series Jokey with Loki, where it's like enough Saman Ahmed, like
But
enough.
I don't disagree with you that my thing with Savan Ahmed is usually he doesn't make anything happen beyond what's there. But if we're going to be fair, again, on that play, he's got somebody in his grill the second he touches the ball. And if you remember late in the first half, they ran a shovel pass on like 3rd and 17, and they got like the parting of the season in the middle of the field, except that a guy, both you and I, whose praises we have never stopped singing, completely decided not to block the linebacker, who then came from the side, and I'm talking about Teron Armstead, who let Drew Tranquil, the linebacker, come from the side and catch Ahmed after a 3-yard gain when it should have been close to a first down or close enough where McDaniel would have gone for it on 4th down. So it's not always on the dude.
Yeah, I honestly don't even remember that play, but I'll take your word for it. Overall, I was pleased with the defense's performance. Could they have gotten Patrick Mahomes down a little bit more? I feel like they could have, but they did a phenomenal job containing Travis Kelce, which I think we both said coming into the game had to be an issue of high priority, had to be something that you absolutely need to do. Travis Kelce was 3 receptions for 14 yards on 4 targets. 7 yards was the most that he did. That's not the reason why you lost. You also didn't lose because Chris Jones wrecked the game. You also didn't lose because Patrick Mahomes put on a cape and really saved the day. I think you lost because you were facing a better team in what surprised me as a hostile neutral territory. And I got to admit, I didn't expect there to be as much crowd noise as there was when Miami had possession of the ball, because it was loud and it forced them to really alter their offense, which I, again, continue to say continues to look different on the road versus when it's at home.
Oh, without question. And another pattern that's emerging is, like against the Eagles as well, the running game is bupkis in the first half, and then it comes to life a little bit in the second half. And could the argument not have been made, could you have not continued to run the ball once you got to the 31-yard line? I know the clock was running and only had 1 timeout left. No, they had 2 timeouts left. But you just ran the ball twice for 25 and 19 yards. I don't know. And then if we're going to be honest, since it was brought up that Liam Eichenberg had to come into the game at guard, and I know you threw out the Eichenberg Express, and I made the mistake of thinking, I apologize, I thought you thought it was Connor Williams who was injured, because that's what the game book had at first until they changed it. But the sack that could completely derailed the next to last drive, along with the 6-yard loss to Ahmed, that was Teron Armstead not picking up McDuffie on the blitz on the outside, and Austin Jackson getting beat one-on-one by Wharton on the other side. It had nothing to do with the guards.
Yes, but Teron Armstead got beat by a blitzing cornerback. I'm sorry. I'm going to give a Pro Bowl left tackle who had just literally gotten off IR a little grace that he can't meet a speed rusher on the outside. My janitors, Durham Smythe and Alec Ingold, that's a play that they have to clean up, because that's what they're there for. A blitzing cornerback is not Teron Armstead's problem. That's a Tua identification problem. I give more responsibility to Austin Jackson, who I've argued with people for the last 2 weeks as having a Pro Bowl season. You pooped the bed in that situation.
He's not a Pro Bowl tackle. Sorry, he's been serviceable, but I think we need to.
Serviceable. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful. That's
adequate. Solid.
Okay. I will allow solid, but you will not disrespect Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson was considered a turnstile when this season began, and he's your 3rd best offensive lineman, and he's been on the field for every game, and others cannot say that. No, there's nobody else who could say that right now. So, yes, you allowed a sack in a critical moment, but it wasn't just on you, because that pressure was coming from everywhere. If you will notice, a lot of Tua's plays, when teams get pressure on him, it's those edge blitzes, the cornerback, the safety, and primarily because they always never have a running back in protecting, and then they use their fullbacks and tight ends. And I can't remember who was on the field in terms of Durham Smythe or Alec Ingold, but When those free rushers come, Tua's got to identify it quickly, and he's got to get the ball out. And that did not happen. But it was a gangbang. And what is Tua supposed to do except for ball up in a fetal curl? And that seemed to be what he did. I know you said Tyreek is, that fumble and the 7 points, huge play. I hated the play call, but huge play. Felt like they were trying to run out the clock. Huge play. And then the 2 drops, those are massive. But you know what? You know what an MVP does? An MVP steps up when his team needs him to put a cape on his back. And this was not an MVP-like performance from Tua.
Oh, no, I think that's kind of fairly obvious. The thing is, and again, that should not be the focus of the conversation. This was a major opportunity for the Dolphins, who now are 6-3, who will fall into a tie for first place in the AFC East and actually drop to second because of the tiebreaker if Buffalo wins tonight, even though I don't expect them to do that because they're playing at Cincinnati, which is balling right now. And I have warned you, Cincinnati's coming. Joe Burrow's right again. They're coming. Anyway, so it was a big opportunity. To me, what I take from this game is that they can compete with the big boys. And KC is still big boys in the AFC, even though I don't look at KC as being nearly as dominant as they've been the past couple of years. I think they can.
Who's a better team in the NFL than Kansas City right now?
I think Baltimore right now is a better team than Kansas City. I think
you think Baltimore is a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs right now?
Yes.
Please state your case.
Well, first of all, they're in the top 10 in both offense and no, they're not. Are they both? They might be in the top 10 in both offense or defense, or they're close. Their quarterback is playing at every bit the level Patrick Mahomes is playing. They don't have the holes that Kansas City has because Kansas City's wide receivers are still not good.
Neither is Baltimore's, but I will.
Well, Baltimore has a lot more potential with Aguilar's not very good. Rashawn Bateman's not a bad player. Odell Beckham Jr. is not who he was, but he still has some ability. They also are brutally physical up front, as much as KC is on both sides, and their defense has, from what we saw in week 2 last year in Baltimore, they have gone 17 million miles, in large part after the acquisition of Roquan Smith, who's a complete baller, who I've been in love with ever since the Bears put him on the market, and I was like, please, Dolphins, go get him. Having said that, the guy that they went to get instead, Bradley Chubb, hat tip to the dude. He is balling. He's the one who forced a fumble that Zach Sealer recovered. He had a pass batted down to the line of scrimmage that could have resulted in a pick very easily, and he is playing.
Listen, I can't really put this loss on the defense. They were playing probably about as good as they could possibly play. You didn't feel Jalen Ramsey. You didn't feel Xavier Howard, which means they were doing their job. Travis Kelce was contained, which means the linebackers and the safeties are doing their job. And Patrick Mahomes wasn't allowed to get comfortable in the pocket. And then there were instances where he got out of the pocket and he got rocked a little bit. Andrew Van Ginkel, lucky man, because that play, you're talking about the marquee face of the NFL. You can't do that to the marquee face of the NFL, but I understand it was skirting the line of legality, which apparently Andrew Van Ginkel does quite a bit. And he managed to pull it off. Does this mean that the Dolphins can't win 12 games? No, it doesn't. Does this mean that the Dolphins won't have AFC championship, stakes at the end of the season? No, it doesn't. Does this mean that they won't have home field advantage in the AFC playoffs? Probably does. Unless some drastic injuries derailed the Kansas City Chiefs. But the
Chiefs are not going 15-2 though. This is not a
14-3, 13-4.
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. But going back quickly to Omar's point about like Van Ginkel not getting called, and this was happening on social media, and it really drives me insane. Can we not do this thing that every time the Dolphins are losing a game, it's about the officials? My Lord, is this aggravating?
Losers mentality. I agree with you. I thought the refs stayed out of the way of the game and didn't make the game about them. And to me, that's good reffing. They didn't become the storyline. I did think that there was one play that probably should have been looked at that wasn't, which was whether or not Patrick Mahomes when he threw the ball away, he was still in the pocket. He was deep in the pocket, but he was still in the pocket, and he didn't go outside the pocket. And I just felt like the refs should have looked at it. It was a critical third down or second down.
Is it the one at the end of the game?
Yeah, one at the end of the game. And it didn't stop anything, but I certainly would have loved to have backed them up a little bit more, put a little bit more pressure on them. And I didn't know if it was legal or not legal. I just felt like you should have taken a look. But the refs stayed out of the way of the game. And honestly, losers blame losses on refs. This was not a loss that was in the hand of the refs. Noel B1 has our first question. Tough loss, but we still went toe-to-toe with Kansas City. Execution and mistakes can be corrected. No feeling too bad.
Noel, I'm right with you. I mean, again, this is a precision team, and they were not precise in the least for a large part of the game. And then at the end of the game as well. It wasn't like they were blown off the line of scrimmage, because they weren't. In fact, offensively, they blew Kansas City off the line of scrimmage quite a bit in the second half, particularly on that last drive. And they certainly held their own up front against the Chiefs. So, yeah, this is not a, and yes, absolutely, the narrative is going to be there. Dolphins can beat a good team. Again, because they
deserved.
Statistically, they have not. But you get the feeling it's going to happen at some point.
You hope. I mean, it's going to have to happen in December if you want to make it to the playoffs, because I believe there's Dallas and Baltimore and Buffalo sitting there waiting for you in December in your final 3 games. And that 3-game stretch, as Mike McDaniel puts it, is an elimination game, and it will probably decide who has seeding, who wins a wild card, who wins the AFC East. And you have to perform in stages like that, in situations like that. So we'll definitely see what the outcome of that will be. Shelby Jordan says something that you have to play 60 minutes to beat the Chiefs. They played 29 minutes today. I don't necessarily agree with that.
They could have played 30, let's say 33 minutes, finished off the last drive, then go for 2. And they would have won the game 22-21 playing 33 minutes.
I don't disagree with you. I think that they played a very good game. Let me correct myself. I think that execution effort wasn't the reason you lost the game. You played 60 minutes. I think that ultimately you didn't have the chutzpah, the cajon.
Sorry, the what?
Chutzpah.
Oh, okay.
The cajones to
there you go.
Play big in the big moments. And to be completely honest with you, that's why I fell in love with Tua at Alabama. In the big moments, he rised to the occasion, and he made big boy plays. And he's done that throughout his career with the Miami Dolphins. In these critical games, we have not seen him have those big boy moments. And that's going to be a prevailing narrative until he finally does it. I mean, right now, Buffalo didn't do it. Eagles didn't do it. Kansas City didn't do it. 3 major opponents on the road, and you fell short of meeting what your team's expectations and needs were. When Tyreek Hill he endorsed Alec Ingold, but when Tyreek Hill says that, he
was talking about it.
Yeah, but Tyreek did it in true Tyreek fashion.
Of course.
But when Tyreek says, I am not the MVP because I'm not even the MVP of my own team, his team needed him to play like the MVP, and I felt like he squandered the game in those instances. I'm sorry. That was not a bad snap. He should have fielded it. He should have found Waddle. That's what players who are elite do in those moments when they want to pull off big victories.
Rub-a-dub-dub. Thank you for the contribution.
In the tub, rub-a-dub-dub.
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked it, because we're going to dive into it. Do you think it should have been forward progress on the Tyreek fumble? Seems like he was pushed back 5 yards before he fumbled. The funny part about that question is the analysts on NFL Network were actually wondering whether it should be a fumble because they were wondering whether he actually had control.
Possession.
So no, that fumble happened actually pretty quickly. So
But
no,
you know what? You know what? I would rather it stayed that way as opposed to you pulling that play. And I don't think there would have been enough evidence to rule it one way. And I would hate for a play like that to be decided by the refs. I just hate. While I'm a big supporter of replay and the role that it has in getting calls correct, I do not want the game to be decided by ref decisions.
Except for the record, this play actually was reviewed because every turnover in the NFL is reviewed. So they did look at it and decided, no, it was not forward progress stopped. And yes, he had control long enough for it to be a fumble. The only one, and then I still don't think it would have applied, is when Tyreek Hill stood up Mike Edwards, the guy who recovered the ball, for a second or two before he lateraled to Brian Cook, the safety.
That should have been a call.
Maybe that one you could. To me, if you're going to make, hold on, if you're going to make an argument that anything should have been whistled at as forward progress stopped, that's the one, not Tyreek fumbling the ball.
If you got hands to pass the ball and you're still standing up, ball is passed, brother. I'm not whistling the play dead. Tyreek,
because you're not a whistler. Sorry.
Tyreek wasn't strong enough to take him to the ground. If I could stand up and flip the ball, I'm sorry, the play is not dead. And Miami had plenty of opportunities to stop him. They just didn't.
Whoa. Go ahead, Omar. This one's all yours.
Is this loss worth $50 million a year? You can.
No, obviously, and if
I thought you said I was going to have the opportunity to answer the question.
I did say that. Sorry.
Okay. Do I pay $50 million a year to a quarterback who can't win the big game? No, I give him 48. But
oh, that's all. That's well done.
Am I willing to say right now that he's a $50 million a year quarterback, which I certainly do believe is going to be what his market is, because he is going to pass Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, and he's going to pass Herbert. He probably will not pass Burrow, but he will have opportunities in the later stages of this season, in December, in what Mike McDaniel calls elimination games, to show you the caliber of quarterback that he is. And whether you pay him $40 million a year or you pay him 47, that's on you, brother. But he's still gonna get his money.
He's gonna get some money, but the exact amount, and the exact standing of Tua among NFL quarterbacks, to me, as I've said many times, and it's not like, because I keep, I don't know who else it was, like everybody who criticized or doubted Tua or whatever. It was never criticizing or doubting Tua. It was always.
Oh, are you on the Tua video? I'm on the Tua video.
I have no idea. To me, it was always about, let's gather all the information before we can make a final determination. And to me, there's still evidence to be gathered, i.e., when I remember I've used the term with him, closing out a season, and that doesn't just mean staying healthy through the end of the regular season. It means playing winning football, elite quarterbacking down the stretch. This was a great opportunity. Had the Dolphins won this game.
You say it, and then you don't want to put the blame on him, which is odd for you. But I'm sorry. Two critical passes in two critical moments in a game on the line, in the balance, in the final minute of the game. You're in scoring territory. You have to throw the ball.
If you're going to pay him $50 million a year, damn right he's got to make those plays. But I'm not at the point where I'm giving him $50 million a year. That's exactly my point, because I need to see that.
Okay, that's fair. So what are you paying? 45? You're going to have to break him off.
Oh.
David Magetta, who is the agent, is doing some great PR for Holland, because I didn't see the number one rated safety out there. Ooh, Eddie, come on, brother. I am trying to be as nice and diplomatic regarding agents, especially the agents that are very uncomfortable with me. And I am not about to have any Javon Holland slander, and especially when you name Magetta. Like,
That's a
no,
very good point. Had you left his name out of there, we might have ripped on him. But
I might have addressed it. He got too many Dolphins clients.
hey, if PFF says he's number one, who are we to argue, right?
Hey, does PFF take kickbacks? You tell me. I appreciate you, Eddie, but you just got me in trouble.
I know. I'm going to just flash this one for a second, then change it.
I said flat. John Mims says Fangio's defense has arrived. Held the Chiefs to less than 300 yards.
267, unless I'm mistaken. That was even fewer yards than what the Chiefs got last week at Denver. The only difference is they got one turnover, not 5.
Okay.
It was good. The defense was really, really good.
I told you going to the game you get 267. Would you have taken it?
Sign me up.
Everybody is playing on one accord and playing at a relatively high level on defense. I certainly did not expect it, predict it, see it coming. I've already issued my apology to Vic Fangio. What you shaking your head for? You don't want to.
I'm like shame on you. I'm like shame on you for doubting Fangio.
Yeah, I think you owe him an apology too.
No, I will say this. I don't think what I have said all along, and it still happened at some point today. And again, we're crazy for arguing with the results, but there are a lot of times, man, that coverage is soft. Holy crap! Like Kohu on the pass to your dude Kadarius Toney over the middle on the slant. My Lord, is he playing off the guy? And there were a couple of other plays like that. There was the play where it was a long out completion to Noah Gray, the tight end, where the Dolphins had both Xavier Howard and Deshaun Elliott in the area. And then somebody made the point, well, X dove on the tight end running the shorter route, which left Elliott out to dry. Yeah, but the bottom line is both of them were really, really, really soft in their coverage. So, and I saw a lot of that in this game. And you and I are both like, oh, Jesus.
Mr. Bill.
Oh, no, Mr. Bill.
Shademaker.
Sorry.
He says, so tired of these rigged games being scripted. I know the real truth. Roger D really needed to retire or quit so NFL can go back to having a real game. I'm sorry, Mr. Bill, but I couldn't disagree with you anymore. If this game were scripted, it would have been scripted for the Miami Dolphins to win the game. And I felt personally that the refs overlooked a couple of things and called a couple of things that allowed Miami to stay in the game. If I may mention the Chris Jones penalty, I get it. He committed the penalty, but don't act like you haven't seen refs overlook situations and things like that before.
And let's ask Kansas City fans how they feel about the Cedric Wilson touchdown when he kind of had his hand in the back of Trent McDuffie with a slight movement. And let's reverse it. And this is a KC touchdown against the Dolphins. And let's be honest with yourself and how ballistic are you going that they didn't call it.
If Roger Goodell, and yeah, I love the NFL commercials about how the league is trapped. I think it's brilliant. It's a play into what fans say. Players are involved. It's really comedic brilliant. It's like watching Key and Peele in an NFL commercial.
Love Key and Peele.
Hold on. But if this was a scripted game, it would have been scripted for Miami to win because the league needs another ratings juggernaut, and the Miami Dolphins are that ratings juggernaut.
Which KC's going to be regardless.
KC's going to be regardless.
And
you want to put Miami on that mountaintop, you rig the game for them to win. So please, let's not do that.
And if it was going to be rigged for the Chiefs, wouldn't it have been a better ending for the Dolphins to score, go for 2, take the lead, and have Mahomes pull off one of his crazy comebacks in 12 seconds and kick a field goal to win the game? If they were going to script it for the Chiefs. I mean, come on.
Tua, yeah, you can't script a play where the quarterback can't field the ball. You can't script the play where a receiver's running along the sidelines open and the quarterback whoop, whoop, whoop.
Unless they're going to fire the script writers because they didn't get the memo.
Whoopsie daisy moment.
Craig, got it. Defense was great today. We can still go deep in the playoffs. Onward and upward. The last snap, though. Yeah.
Craig, if you go deep in the playoffs, and I need everybody in the chat. Bad snap, bobbled snap. What's your vote? But if you are going to go deep in the playoffs, you know what you need? You need home field advantage because this team has shown you they can't do it on the road. When your one road victory is beating a Chargers team where your fans outnumber their fans in their own stadium, sorry, that ain't gonna count for a road win. This team has not proven that they can beat a quality team on the road. It just has not happened.
I want to address this one here real quick from Chris. The narrative is that Herbert can bring them back. I love Tua, but he hasn't either. Yes, Tua has. Yes, Herbert has. Yes, every quarterback has. It's all a matter of how many times it happens, how many times it doesn't happen.
Yeah, Tua has a tremendously good fourth quarter comeback record performance. I don't know what it is right now, but it's pretty good.
But again, this idea that, he can't do it or he can't do it. Yes, they all do it to a certain degree. Okay, here we go.
I'm gonna beat you to it. Oh,
damn you! I got it. And this is
I'm undoing you.
Okay, fine. Go for it. You can handle all of them if you want. We should answer questions.
Yes, you really seem like we had a lot of wide open receivers. What do we take away from this game? Anything positive? Tua did not play well today. Thank you, Finn's RK09. I love Tua. I think Tua is elite. I think Tua is going to be the man. I think he's going to be a marquee player in the NFL for many years to come. But you have not showed up when your team needed you in those critical moments in the fourth quarter. Against the Eagles now, drop the ball. Against Kansas City, drop the ball. You literally dropped the ball.
What's interesting, though, is you keep pounding on his future greatness and then talk about how he came up short today, where I'm more still reserving judgment for future greatness. And then today was like, no, he didn't come up big
my expectations are higher for him. I know he's that dude. I know he has it. I did not see it today. I did not see it.
When have you seen it late in the season at crunch time?
Okay. I'm not going to argue with you on that.
And for everybody out there, that's what I still need to see before I fully embrace with arms open wide, like the song from Creed said. You probably never heard that song, like with arms wide open.
I think Creed is one of the bands that I actually liked. I'm not
okay, so arms wide open.
Well, okay. Give me 3 positives you took away from this game. I'll start. Raheem Mostert played like a dog. That's always a favorable thing. 2, Fangio's defense holding a juggernaut, offensive juggernaut, even though they got kind of weak sauce receivers. Highly defended Kelsey. Come on, man. I know Taylor Swift wasn't in the building, but come on, man.
That was the key to the game.
And I put this out there as well. Did you see or hear anything about Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard all game?
Yes, X made like 3 different plays, all good ones. I even put out a tweet at some point. Please tell me again how the dude is a mediocre or overrated cornerback. The dude's a stud.
No, Dolphin fans think he's washed.
He's a stud.
So you need to give 3.
Oh, well, see, I could go big picture. Like I like the offensive line and the run blocking.
Okay.
Especially at crunch time, and that was big. After there were issues in the first half, you can tell Connor Williams makes more so than our friend Tehran. Connor Williams makes a huge difference in the running game. Yes, he does. Okay.
How dare you?
What?
The man just got back.
So did Williams.
Okay, Judge Tehran 2 games from now. Okay, and then you just said no.
From what I've seen all of this season, well, obviously Tehran hasn't played a whole lot of games. As far as run blocking, Connor Williams is a difference-making center as far as run blocking is concerned.
You paying him $10 million? Look at that face.
Well, yeah, I'd have to have my salary cap consultant go.
I mean, he's going to have to be a priority decision. You either make him a priority or you don't.
Yeah, my issue with Connor Williams is he gets flagged a little bit too much for my taste. He had like a kind of a silly holding penalty, which I'm sure Dolphin fans are going to rail that it was kind of ticky tack, and it was ticky tack. Except did he really need to do it? And this is every time that it's happened with him. So that would be number one. No, that would be number three, because number one, and I wrote about this, that defense is coming. By the end of the season, we're going to wish the offense can play as well as the defense. I mean, yeah. Oh, I said it. I said what I said.
Damn,
with me.
You were right along with me criticizing Vic Fangio, and now you pom waving it, cheering, sis boom ba.
I am criticizing. I was criticizing the method because I don't like personally like the bend but don't break. But you can't argue with the results, and they have been coming. Bradley Chubb is playing like a stud lately. Jalen Phillips, who is now, again, even more removed from the oblique injury, is playing really well. Now you got Ramsey, who they didn't have earlier on. The interior of the defensive line, Sealer.
Performing better than the number one rated offense in the NFL?
What kept you in the game today? Was it the offense or the defense?
I didn't ask you that. I asked you a question. You said they're going to be carrying this team or whatever you said. So you're telling me this defense is going to be the number one rated defense in the NFL?
No. What I'm going to tell you is that regardless of what final ranking the Dolphin offense has, as I sit right now on Sunday, November 5th, I am telling you I feel more confident. If I'm looking at the playoffs, I feel more confident about the defense delivering playoff caliber performances, championship caliber performances than the offense.
Okay.
And that's my biggest takeaway. Go ahead.
I cannot argue with you.
And Fat Burger apparently obviously disagrees with my premise because based on the question.
Something needs to be done at the linebacker and defensive tackle. What do you guys think? I would have said that early in the season. Right now, yeah, I don't really see or notice Jerome Baker much, but that's not a bad thing because I don't notice him getting beat in coverage as well. And Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer look pretty good to me at defensive tackle. I mean, I don't know if I could ask them to be doing anything more except for be Aaron Donald and Chris Jones. And really, I didn't even feel Chris Jones all game. And he was going against he's going against young, inexperienced outside offensive guards. So
yeah, and tell me David Long Jr. is not balling the last month or so.
Absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that David Long Jr. is probably one of the top performers based on what we're seeing probably in the last month.
By the way, Omar, just for you, I paid attention. The very first time the Dolphins dropped back in coverage, Chris Jones was lined up over the left side of the defensive line, and the Dolphins had Austin Jackson and Durham Smythe double blocking him.
Of course.
Durham, that's not what you said the other day when they told you
that's Durham's job to clean things up. He's the janitor.
Well, that wasn't a cleanup like he was behind him. It was literally a double team.
Okay. Rusty Miller asked a question that so many Dolphin fans want to know. Is this another That's So Dolphins loss?
Kind of hard to argue against that. Consider that. I mean,
they didn't rise to the occasion, but it's not like they pooped the bed.
Dude, your last gasp 4th and 10 effort ends with Tua having to backtrack to fall on the ball 15 yards down the field because he couldn't handle the stop. That's a pretty that's so Dolphins moment. I hate to be
that's a Dolphins moment would have been him trying to grab the ball instead of falling on it in a field position, and then it squirts out. Defense picks it up, runs it for a touchdown. That's so Dolphins.
I will say this about Tua. He has learned his lesson. I think Mike McDaniel got in his ear often enough in the offseason. I don't know if you noticed, there are a couple of plays where he scrambled on broken plays, and the second he saw a Chiefs defender coming, whereas last year, 2 years ago, he might have tried to juke him or do something, whatever, his ass is going down. And that's smart. Keep yourself healthy. Chris, go ahead, Omar. Wide receiver screen.
I'm a huge fan of when we run wide receiver screens. Never works for us game after game. I don't necessarily agree with that.
Flat on not true.
Yeah, it's the number one offense in the NFL. They run wide receiver screens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they're those orbit motions. Man, did they give Kansas City issues? And when the orbit motion is out there, that's kind of like a screen. So I can't. sometimes you're trying to call things to set things up. So
It didn't work today. That we can agree.
A lot of things didn't work today.
No, correct. I mean, kudos to the Chiefs. The Chiefs were like number 4 in total defense for a reason.
Yes, and they played like it without a doubt. Tua plays nervous against good competition. I didn't see nervous.
Yeah, I'm not buying nervous.
I didn't see nervous. I saw a guy who squandered an opportunity, but I didn't see nervous. Like, I'm dying to hear what he says about the pass along the sidelines to Cedric Wilson. Was that just a miscommunication? Was it a ball slip out? Or, was it just a brain fart in terms of a breakdown that they had? Because clearly, something went wrong there on such a critical play.
Yeah. You're controlling the board, as they say in the biz.
It's funny because fans are saying, that loss is in Tyreek's hands. And then other fans are saying, Tua is not him. But he is little him, yes. Or tell the truth about Tua, please.
What does little him mean?
He's like a little version of he's like a mini version of that guy, and I wouldn't even say he's a mini version of that guy. He has to prove he's got elite. He's got kill mentality, and though that wasn't a kill. That was not a kill. That was not a kill level performance. You got to be a killer, stone cold killer. And I think he has it in him. I'm not sure that he's brought it out. Wow. Tyreek, Mike Best, got a ton of respect for you, brother. But Tyreek played for his.
Wow.
That's cold-blooded.
No, but if you heard, I know you were doing the pregame show in QAM, but if you heard some of the comments that came out like before the game, then this is where I'm telling you, he wanted it too bad. He's talking about like, if I score when I score a touchdown, I'm gonna look over their sideline and tell them like, you miss me yet or something like that. Don't you regret trading me, something like that. It's like he made it so big in his mind, and let's not kid ourselves. If the money had been equal, Tyreek would have stayed in KC in a heartbeat. And the way he talks it's like there's almost like a longing to be back with the Chiefs at times. Am I wrong?
It's an old girlfriend.
Well, it's an old girlfriend for whom he's got major feelings. So it's a little harsh, but I think he just, again, he made it too big of a game because he was facing his former team.
When asked to do heavy lifting, Tua comes up short every time. We may have a Kirk Cousins, Mr. 1 p.m. on our hands. Big games and primetime dud every time. Duds every time.
You know what I have to say about that? You like that. Sorry. That to be done.
Hey, listen. Tua is going to screen grab you, recording you saying you like that, and they're going to hold that against you. You're going to be putting the Tua.
No, it's a Kirk Cousins joke. You don't get the Kirk Cousins joke?
Yeah, no. Misappropriation of use.
No, that was somebody learned a technical term here. That was not a comment on the statement, but I am still reserving judgment. I am not ready to.
Y'all believe that?
To do a coronation for Tua, I need to see more evidence. And Omar, you have been steadfast in your belief that the guy's going to be a complete stud, $50 million a year quarterback, elite, no questions asked. I still have to gather some evidence before I present my case to the jury. How's that for a little legal analogy there?
Yes, he is going to be that player. Is he playing like that player right now in these critical games? No, he is not. But they're all on the road. They're all in hostile environments. The team has a bunch of mishaps during those games. They're not playing with their best offensive line. And this sounds like a laundry list of excuses.
Yes, it does.
Because it is a laundry list of excuses.
But this go. I mean,
it is. I own it. It is.
I know, but it's like, okay, this like. No, like 2021. But I know I can't help myself. But it's 2021. It was like, okay, the coach doesn't believe, and mind you, some of them are all legit. Coach doesn't believe in them, and the offensive weapons are bad. The offensive line is bad. Now, with all due respect, I mean, can we stop with the offensive line is missing players? Yeah, but they had Armstead back and they had Connor Williams back.
Yes.
And if you're gonna say that Teron Armstead, well, you cut him some slack because he was just coming back from an injury, then you're telling me you shouldn't have been in the lineup.
I
Because
am
if you played, I don't want to hear an excuse.
on the field was Miami's 8th and 9th offensive linemen in starting roles from training camp. We debated whether or not these two players would make the 53. You got to own it.
Yes, you're correct.
You got to own it and take some accountability. And now every team is going through this, which is why the Dolphins wisely showed us this is why we're keeping 10 offensive linemen, including Keon Smith, because you never know when you're going to need a lineman for a rainy day. And they're out there. They're playing. Now, is that a good thing? I can honestly tell you, and I watched line play, I didn't see Lester Cotton being a liability. I saw some Robert Jones struggles, which explains to me why Lester Cotton is really the frontline guy for a starter. Now, does that necessarily mean that they performed well? Not really.
Were they the reason they couldn't get the job done?
No, a bad snap was.
No, but not the bad snap was. The failure on the last two drives when they were down 21-14. They had the ball twice. They reached KC territory twice, and they couldn't finish either drive. So, well, I was going to. Did you have something? You had something up and you took it away.
No. I already said. We already talked about it. I think.
Well,
maybe you didn't. Why not run behind Armstead? Run behind our best O lineman. I don't think Armstead has proven or shown you that he can. He's there. That doesn't mean he's at Armstead level yet. I didn't see.
That's what he just said.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Armstead? But Jay Live Doe. I don't know if it's Jay Live Doe or however. Sorry, but Jay,
like a homeboy, Jay Live Doe.
Okay, well, okay. Guess what? They run.
Jay Live Doe.
Jay Live Doe. Mostert gained 25. I know I'm hip. I'm very. I may not look it, but I'm very hip. Mostert gained 25 and 19 yards on the first two plays of that last drive. Does it matter where they ran? And it was on the left side, so it may not have been completely behind Armstead, but it was in his area. So I'm not sure I understand this whole thing. Maybe then again, I understand a lot of things.
Be free. Tua's all to blame. How do you miss that throw? Bro, I don't know if that throw went out of his hand. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And I'm sorry. I want a ruling because that snap looked like it was right to him. It might have been a little hot, but I'm sorry. Situation is you got to get the ball fast because the pressure is coming. And how do you just miss it? How do you just miss a snap like that in that moment? How do you just miss it?
Because your mind has moved forward to processing what you need to see downfield.
Whoa,
they can playing too fast. Chiefs are not a 13-win team.
You think that's what happened?
That what? Oh, I absolutely think that's what happened.
Wow.
He took his eye off the ball because he was because it was there. There, I mean, it was.
Chiefs are not a 13-win team. Okay, no problem. Let's do this then. Okay, they've got 7 now. Okay, they got the Eagles. Let's say that's a loss. They got cupcakes against Vegas, Green Bay. Okay, let's say they lose to Buffalo. Okay, they got the Patriots and then Las Vegas again. Okay, those are wins. Then they got Cincinnati. Okay, and then they got the Rams, New Orleans, Arizona, and Cleveland. So I technically just gave you potentially 4 losses. They pull off a win in any of those games instead of turning it into a loss. And I definitely see 13 wins. Is my math off? Like what am I missing here? If they had managed to pull off some victories against the Eagles, which they play in 2 weeks after the bye, Buffalo and Cincinnati, I'm seeing 13 wins.
The thing, as we said the other day, is every one of their tough games, it seems, is at home. So we'll see.
You got 9 games to pull off 6, and that gets you to 13.
Correct. 7. I had to do the math. 7 plus 6 equals 13. So it takes me a while. You have to be patient.
Yeah, I struggled with it a little bit before I did it. So yeah.
Yeah, you had your calculator next to you, didn't you?
We're both writers.
People questioning Tua weirdly makes me feel better. If this was show enough or Henny, people would be bending over backwards to make excuses.
Not me.
Who's show enough?
Show enough is Tannehill. How do you not know I called Tannehill show enough?
I never, ever, ever heard that.
What?
Never heard that.
Show enough for like 7 years.
Maybe
from the movie The Last Dragon. You ever seen The Last Dragon? You are the last dragon. You possess the power of the glow. The glow.
Now I got to go see it right now. I hear that song. No, I'm just kidding.
Great movie, phenomenal movie. But
okay.
It was shown up. It was my mockery of Tannehill, because in those moments where he needed to rise to the occasion, he couldn't. His glow would flicker and go out. And I know people say, well, that's Leroy, but I just referred to him as show enough because he hadn't shown me enough. So it's a major play on words and stuff like that lasted for 7 years. But King check down, Chad Henne, of course he was going to check down the pass. The big pass, instead of throwing the big pass, he's going to check it down.
Well, that's why they come check down Chad.
Yeah.
I honestly do not recall anybody making excuses for Henne or Tannehill.
For years they did. For years they did. Yeah. Oh, come on. This fan base? Oh, yeah, absolutely. His fan base made excuses for, and I used to fight against it all the time. He did what Tua did today, which is in moments where he needed to play big, he shrunk. And I know I'm not in Tua, but I am clearly a Tua supporter. I know he's going to be elite. But if I can sit here and tell you, which is why I'll never be in Tua, that he shrunk when you needed him to play big, when he needed to walk around with the big ones.
You mean like Cahoon did after he broke up that?
Yeah. Yeah. When you needed Tua to pull out the big ones, he wasn't there. And it is what it is, man. You got to play big in those moments. That's what separates the elites from the good. And right now, Tua just is in the good category. Dolphins,
and yet he may be. And yet, when the odds come out early next week for NFL MVP, my guess he's going to be second behind Mahomes.
He's tanking. He's going to be third. Somebody's going to eclipse him. It's going to be Josh Allen.
Depends on the game tonight, or Lamar
Jackson. On the game tonight, yeah, or Lamar Jackson,
yeah,
or Jalen Hurts. Yeah, Tua's going to take a massive dive in the MVP voting. Nor should he care. So I'm not even stressing about that.
None of us should care, except that it comes up. Kelly Patterson, thank you, boss. Dolphin offense scored as many points as KC offense, and Tua spent the whole first half in third and forever. If you need to blame somebody, look at penalties. Were they really all penalties? Discuss this somewhere while I look at my play-by-play.
Yeah, you're going to make us go to our penalties 6 for 45. Cannot blame it on penalties. Yeah, they were negative plays. They had a lot. They struggled on third downs. I believe they were 3 of 12 on third downs, but the Kansas 3 of 10 on third downs too. What I found interesting is that Mike McDaniel decided to play ball control offense at the end of the half and the end of the fourth quarter. I get it. I just never would have thought aggressive Mike would be putting his guns away. And I get it. He didn't necessarily call a conservative game, but you were running your 4-minute offense in that critical stretch.
I have the play-by-play very handy here. If we win, Kelly, this is exactly what happened in the first half. First drive, it was a 3rd and 10 because of Mostert run for 0 yards, to a pass to Hill on a screen pass, 0 yards. That's 3rd and 10. Then they got into 3rd and 10. Okay. Second drive, They got themselves in a 3rd and 10, 2 incompletion, Mostert run for 0 yards. Those are not penalties. Those are plays that just didn't go anywhere. 3rd drive, 1 yard run, 2 incompletion. That was the one to Tyreek Hill, 3rd and 9. Again, it's not penalties. The only drive in the first half where they got themselves in a pickle with the down and distance was the intentional grounding penalty on Tua when he spun around and threw it back to Raheem Mostert. Which looked like a semi-iffy call to me. Also one of those where if Tua had it back, he would make more of an effort to get more on the ball. I think he
throw it out of bounds to the left.
Well, yeah, either that. Well, no, the play was designed to go to Mostert, and then he got pressure, and then he threw it back. But the way he threw it back is just had nothing on it and wound up being way short. So,
why can I put this in there? Hide the current one. Okay, boom. Nope, it's still not coming up. Okay, Troy Jesse, bring that one up because I can't make it come up.
Where is it?
It's in the pay category. The last one.
Samuel, Kelly Patterson. There we go. It's not coming up. I have to find it downstairs. Why is it not coming up? I have to find it in the full thing here. Somebody brought up Marino in here.
Why would they bring up Marino?
No, and then I also want to bring that up to, here we go, this Troy Jesse, and I'll bring up Marino after that.
There it is. I don't know why I couldn't bring it up.
I've always felt he was in the same category as Tannehill. He has elite accuracy. Nobody ever accused Tannehill of having elite accuracy. And we can win with him, but we must have an elite run game and an elite defense. And Omar right now is flummoxed.
How dare you? Like that, Troy, I'm insulted. Tua compared to Tannehill? Elite accuracy? There's a single NFL person that will ever tell you that Tannehill has elite accuracy, nor pocket presence, nor ability to read and diagnose the field like Tua. Don't do that. Don't do that. But like we play 3 bad games all on the road that pretty much in every one of those situations you win those games, everybody's going to tell you you're the best team in the NFL. And you lost them. Okay. So the Miami Dolphins are the 6th best team in the NFL or the 7th best team in the NFL. There's no shame in that. Focus on getting right, getting healthy, winning elimination games, finish the season with 12 wins because I think it's certainly doable, finishing out strong in December, and then we'll see where the chips stack up. And Tua will be in a position to win a playoff game. And the question is, will he be able to do it?
And by the way, we thank you for the contribution, which adds a lot of validity to your point. But no, I'm with Omar. Actually, there's nothing. Oh my Lord, look at this! Washington beating New England 10-0. Holy moly, what a crap show they are. I'm bringing this up because I find it funny, and I want to. Omar, perhaps you can help me with this one. Does Pupar look like he's seen The Last Dragon?
That's the movie I'm talking about, The Last Dragon.
No, I know. I know that, but is it because it's a cool movie and I'm not cool?
It's a cool movie. It's right in your genre. It's right in your wheelhouse. Barry Gordy, famous music producer, made the movie, and so it's a musical. It's like a musical movie, and it's got
right. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I wouldn't have seen it. I'm not a big musical.
It's in like the it's in the purple. It's not a musical. It's in like the Purple Rain category of movies.
I like Purple Rain.
Yeah. See, yeah, it's kind of like Purple Rain genre-ish, but it's about a karate kid who's lame, but then becomes cool because he can beat up Shonuff, the Shonuff something of Harlem, who is like the big bully in the neighborhood. And the last dragon is the one that puts him in his place and then gets the girl.
Oh, okay. So is the girl of Apollonia Cotero? No.
Yeah. No. How did you know? I think the girl is. I think she's Apple. How do you know?
How was the movie? Apollonia Cotero was in Purple Rain, which is a 1983.
No. The girl is another one, just like Apollonia.
Okay.
Let me look her up. Let me look her. She's
okay.
Yeah.
By the way, is Kung Fu Fighting part of the soundtrack?
Yes.
Are you serious?
No, it's Bruce Lee stuff. Kung Fu Fighting might be Last Dragon and female.
Oh, that song's an all-timer for me, and I took a lot of flack among Dolphin beat writers. I absolutely adore that song. If you know, you know.
Damn it! Who is the female character in The Last Dragon? Oh, it's Vanity. It's not. It's not.
There you go. That's close.
That's what I said. It's close.
How old's the movie?
Huh?
How old is the movie?
Oh, it's ridiculously old, early 80s.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But it's
Okay.
a cult classic.
Okay. No, you know what? I'm familiar with the movie. I've never seen it. Vanity song from the movie is terrible, though. LOL. Matt O says.
I can't remember Vanity's song from the movie. But yeah. You make me want to watch The Last Dragon Beyond.
Vanity is fire in that movie. So we now. Oh, you brought up Vanity, and we got people going. Oh, great.
Oh, Vanity and Apollonia like formed what I thought as beautiful in women. Like, and
I'm big Apollonia Catero fan personally.
Yeah, from those movies, and Sheila E. too. Gosh,
very talented too. Sheila E. Matt again. Tua is an evolved Chad Pennington, and I mean that as a compliment. Tighten up, and this team can win. First offense, I feel confident with in years. He's an evolved Chad Pennington. I don't know if he's an evolved Chad.
I do agree with that. I think he is an evolved Chad Pennington. He brings to the table a lot of what Chad Pennington does. I think he's got a little bit better of an arm. Tua, look.
Go ahead.
Don't you dare.
And I will point out a play. Go ahead.
Don't you dare.
Oh, but I will. Go ahead.
Don't you dare. You don't want that Tua non-smoke.
No, you're right. Tua has a much better arm. It's not even close. I have no idea what I was thinking.
You don't want that Tua non-smoke.
No, I don't.
They will drown you in yards per production. Big play.
That means nothing. But I will say this: that they were both like quarterbacks who are a lot more about intangibles than they are about pure physical traits.
Yeah, Drew Brees. I put him in that category. Tua is this era's Drew Brees. It is what it is. There's no shame in that.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Mr. Charlie is he's paying a sponsorship to hear Poop say
J Live though.
No. You didn't do it right. It's J Live though.
J Live though. That's better. Okay.
All right. Is that approved? Everybody, thumbs up.
Oh, that's funny.
Somebody said I agree with Poopart. I wish I could, like, you guys are so, and I love. Does it tell you how many people are watching now, Poop? Because I'm
872.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm seeing so many comments, and they're moving so fast.
You said somebody agreed with me.
Yes, somebody agreed with you, but I couldn't keep up with what they were talking about when they agreed with you.
And hold on, this is like,
oh my God!
Pay attention. Pupar, you're not going to say a guy like Pennington has a better arm. Pay attention. I didn't say has a better arm. I said it's comparable. Please pay attention. And if you don't believe me, go look at a highlight from 2008. It's a flea flicker touchdown pass in the end zone to, I believe it was Ted Ginn Jr., which is pretty much the same distance that you will see Tua throw on his deep passes. Okay, it's not a slight at Tua. It's just this notion that Chad Pennington. We had this one already.
No, we didn't. We did. Okay. Sorry. I realized I was like an hour behind in the chat, and that's how much you guys. I think you guys see the chat. Is Omar on the refs payroll? No, man. I just see games objectively. I'm actually sat here and watched the game with one of my closest friends. And he's a diehard Dolphin fan, and literally he's crying about every call. And I'm like, bro, you got to look at this objectively as somebody. And I explained to him why you're not going to get that call or why that should have been called. And it wasn't. And I felt like the Dolphins got more non-calls or favorable calls than they lost. I'm sorry. If you guys see things as fans where there is no objectivity, and in the media, the one thing they beat out of you is they beat into you is objectivity. You have to be able to see it fairly and accurately. And that's probably why both of our contrarian natures do quite well, not just together, but watching football. You have to look at the other side and be able to analyze how things look from the other perspective, and then be able to balance it out and say right or wrong.
No, and what I always ask fans is be honest with yourself. If the teams are reversed, how do you feel about the call or the non-call? And the thing with
that's a good tip. That's a really good tip that I want everybody who's listening. When you're watching these games, you have to look at these calls. I know it's your team, but when you're watching these games, you have to look at these calls of how would I feel if the call were on the other side?
No, and we was going to say about the non-call on AVG on Mahomes near the sideline. That's one of those. I personally don't think it's roughing. It was a necessary roughness penalty, but that play is going to get called some of the time. And the Dolphins caught a break in that it wasn't called because, again, the contact is made after there's a foot out of bounds. And the NFL wants to protect those quarterbacks because look around the NFL today and look at some of the quarterbacks who are starting, and you're going to run down the names and you're going to be like, I don't want to watch that. Well, NFL wants you watching. I'm serious.
No, you're right. You're telling the truth.
Brett Rippon starting for the Rams. Anybody want to see Brett Rippon? No offense. I mean,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The league has to protect the quarterbacks. And fortunately for you as Dolphin fans, your quarterback is now in the protected category. He's an endangered species. He's a ratings mover. So you can't blow wind on him too hard without a flag being thrown. So just like you'll benefit from it, you'll also take some losses to it as well.
And Mahomes usually is very protected. So that's why. And there was another play, and we had a little chat on this among the media group. If you remember, where Mahomes slid and Zach Sealer came in to make a tackle, and at the end his right arm swung like right near his head. And I made the point that if like, regardless of the intent, and there was no intent to me from Zach Sealer on the play, but I can see a quarterback getting mad. And I certainly can see Dolphin fans, had that been Tua sliding down, would have been all up in arms. Again, you play it fair. Paul, who has very good analysis. Armstead is not the great player everybody says he is, cannot be consistent, too injured in too many places. Culmination of injuries will only get worse, too old to recover. You were basing that on what? The dude's played 2 games. Yeah, to about 2.5 games.
That was harsh, Paul. I don't agree with you. Can I say he's consistent? No, he's not on the field long enough to be consistent. And then when I'm judging him based on his performance, he was playing on an injury where it should have landed him on IR after the season opener. Too injured in too many places. Okay, that's fair and valid. Accumulation of injuries. Okay, that's fair and valid. He's 30 years old. I'm 46, and trust me,
32.
He's 32. Like these things add up. Will only get worse. Too old to recover. Come on, man. That's a little harsh right there, brother.
This one here, I think, I'm not sure, but I think my sarcasm radar is up on this one. I think I detect some sarcasm here. Go ahead, read it out loud, Omar.
Start Mike White because Tua is hot trash. Apparently, there needs to be.
Young Tay is being funny. I'm pretty sure Young Tay is trying to be funny.
Yeah, if Tua is trash, man, I don't know. There are a lot of MVPs out there. You guys skip comments.
Well, no, John, there you go. We're not skipping your comment.
No, if you pay to get in the club, you definitely getting in the club. If you bought bottle service with a tip, you getting in the club. I try to bring up as much. Just like the club, you got to pay there's a bottle line and then there's the regular line. We let 10 people in the regular line, just like we let the bottle line in. Poupard is listening to this and he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, no, I'm fully aware of the club.
you know about the bottle line?
Mm-hmm. What's that song or that line? What is it? Don't pay champagne in the champagne club or champagne room. Something like that.
Room? Yeah, okay. You know about the champagne room? All right.
I've heard.
Tootsie's is right down the street from where we work every day.
Let me go back to Young Tay for a second here. About the comment of Tua is hot trash, apparently. No, nobody's ever said that. Does that mean he's above criticism? Because that seems to be the implication here. So, sorry. If he doesn't play well, guess what? We're going to point out he doesn't play well, and he played okay for most of the game, and he didn't come up big at the end of the game when they needed him to. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm. Do you think playing the Eagles and Chiefs off a loss has an effect on these games, or is it just the pressure of a big game affecting this high-powered offense? I think more than the pressure, I think the crowd noise, and I will stand on that claim. It does not look the same. Show me the game where there's a hostile environment that the offense looks just the same in terms of motions as it does. Those orbital motions are not the same as Tyreek going from the fullback and running out wide, and then in full stride, the ball is snapped and he's on the move. Show me the play in this game where it looked like that. They can't with the silent cadence. Tua has to see Tyreek and know when to call for the snap, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
And the other factor is Chiefs and Eagles are really good.
Yeah, no.
And the Dolphins at home have not necessarily played great teams, if we're going to be honest about it. Now, and
embarrassed the way the game ended. Kyle Blair. Embarrassed the way the game ended. And you know what, Kyle? Kevin Blair. You know what? Bear? Oh, is that a Canadian name? What am I missing here?
You said Blair. There's no L.
Okay, my bad.
Okay.
I have to agree with him. I'm embarrassed the way that this game ended. And part of the reason I'm embarrassed is because Tua is that guy, and he's not playing like that guy in the game's critical moments. It's right now, you can put it on his resume. Squanders game-winning opportunities.
Of course, and this is the part where I'm going to ask, what's Flair's?
I was going to ask. I thought you'd be able to fill me in.
I think
I know.
I can live with that.
Is Genesis the band that Sting was part of?
Wow. Genesis, by the way, and I'm going to call you out on this. Genesis is the band of the famous song with that I shared the story that my daughter and I share and sing together, and it's one of the most insanely brilliant songs I've ever heard in my life. And I challenge you to listen to it. And this was about 2 months ago, and you still haven't listened.
Text me the damn song, and I'll listen to the song. I just forgot. You expect me to remember it? But which one is Genesis? Is it the band?
Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, Tony Banks.
Phil Collins. There you go. I knew he had some big names in that band. Peter Gabriel. Yes.
Gary just rewatched the last drive, and McD called 2 perfect calls at the end. Wilson was open for TD on the 3rd, and Waddle all alone in the end zone on the 4th. Execution killed them today. Yeah, I don't have an issue with the play calling. The one, and again, even the one where Ahmed got thrown for a 6-yard loss, if it's blocked properly, chances are it's not a 6-yard loss. So it's the idea. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of bitching and moaning about play calls.
Mm-hmm.
Because those same play calls, if they were executed properly, often turned out to be great plays. And as far as Waddle being all alone in the end zone, well, it didn't matter because the ball was 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage pretty quickly.
John asks, why is Savon Ahmed playing? I think Wilson needs to play more. I agree with you. And the next time the Miami Dolphins suit up, more than likely, Devon Achane will be playing. So, yes, I think we have – well, I thought that was last week, but the Savon Ahmed's days getting snaps are numbered. Opportunities, targets, like the production just isn't there. It does not add up.
And yet you saw how strongly Mike McDaniel backed him when he was asked specifically that question.
Whatever. Who has Mike McDaniel ever been critical of? Just being real. Just being honest.
No. Correct.
Matto says time to bust out the really bad F word, finesse. Tua's getting paid regardless. We might as well be the ones to do it.
He's getting paid. The question is how much. And by the way, somebody here has already thrown out the finesse word. I believe this. So this is addressed to you, partner. I'm doing it the wrong way.
Until I see them not be able to run the ball when they need to run the ball, I cannot call them a finesse team. And they still outrushed this team. Did they protect Tua? No, they didn't. I'm not going to make excuses about the offensive line because these guys are in the NFL. Every team is playing backups on the offensive line. Will I say finesse? Not yet. That defense doesn't look like they're finesse yet. They look a little forceful.
No, but on offense, it's a finesse. It's a speed. It's a speed slash finesse offense. They're not. They're not a ground and pound. 3 yards on a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no other team has that too or not. You know you are correct. There's no team. Although I am told, who was it that was speaking to? Somebody else around the NFL, a friend of mine was saying that his fan base was as crazy. I think it might have been somebody in Pittsburgh that his fan base was crazy.
Okay, Kenny Pickett?
No, it wasn't about Pickett.
Quarterback, it don't matter.
No, you're right. That don't matter. Have you guys ever noticed how much motion when we pass or running a trick play compared to when we just do running play? Do we tip the defense? I don't see that. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it. Haven't looked for it. We'll look for it moving forward.
No.
What's that?
If these games against elite teams are at home, do we win? More efficient on offense, Tua plays better, less penalties, favorable calls, perhaps 8-1.
All of those things that you just said would have helped. Better execution, better offensive execution. Yes. Less penalties, probably. Favorable calls, maybe. But 8-1, no. I don't think you were going to beat the Bills. I don't think you were going to beat what's the Philadelphia. Even at it would have been a closer game. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, I gotta address this one. Oh, sorry, you had brought one up. I apologize. Go ahead.
No. I love Tua, but today the pressure clearly got in his head. I prefer this to happen now so that he can move forward and be a better player in the playoffs. And I definitely agree with you. Fan for life. This will mold him. This will eat at him. The fact that he lost this team this game by bad pass, botch snap. It will drive him. And that's what makes Tua special and elite.
Okay. I place the blame here on all of the slow starts, which shows a lack of preparation to play by the coach. Sadly, team will be 10-4 before Dallas game.
I'll take that. 10-4 before Dallas game. Why would that be sadly?
Lack of preparation by the coach. Or could we not turn it around and say that he's made great halftime adjustments against the Eagles and against today against the Chiefs after very lackluster performances early on?
I ride with that.
Or maybe they were jet lagged because they flew to Germany too late in the week. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the other team. Sorry. Couldn't resist.
How do you feel about people using the emoji to say they agree with you? I'm going to ask that on behalf of
not exactly a very flattering emoji. I mean, it's POUP, by the way, but I appreciate you agreeing with me. You obviously show a very deep wealth of football knowledge.
It's kind of cute, though. The poop. I like it. I really do.
Yeah. Was it from South Park? The Christmas poo. Some Mr. something. Somebody's going to help me out here. Mr. what?
Mr. Haney?
Was that his name?
I don't remember.
The Christmas poo from South Park, Mr. something.
I have not seen South Park in 10 years.
No, same here, but it's back. It's back on.
Yeah. Grant Albury says Mostert is good, but he isn't a workhorse and sorely needs A-Chain. That's it, right? Yeah.
A-Chan.
Damn it. A-Chan to rotate because Ahmed ain't cutting it. No, I'm with Jeff Wilson. I'm sorry. Ahmed is not getting the job done. Ryan Laporta.
Yeah, if you notice, we skipped the other part. Was in the KC O-line held like crazy. Okay.
All right. Here's Jose. Are we fraudulent? This one really hurts. I think we were going to win this. I thought we were going to win this, man. Are you fraudulent? I don't think they are because fraudulent teams go on and lose 5 games in December. I think that there's no way that that's happening to this team. The question is, can you stack up and rack up some wins when your team needs you to do that now so that you can put yourself in position in these elimination games, as Mike McDaniel calls it, when it's time to go to the playoffs. And I think that that's what the focus needs to be about, stacking up the wins. They could say it's cupcakes, but put the wins together so that you could have home field advantage in the playoffs, so that everybody's got to come through South Florida if they want to get past you. And I think that will give you a good chance to have some semblance of respect at the end of the season when teams are adding up the wins and losses.
Except the answer is going to be yes if they don't beat one of the last 3 teams they play, which is Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Omar, he had happy feet most of the game. Are they talking about Tua? Whether Tua had happy feet? I would have to rewatch that game and look for those happy feet. You got me interested now. Estate converts. Wow, why did I say state or converts?
Fake converters. Got a good point, Omar. Stop being nasty to the person.
I wish we had more empathy for the players. Clearly, Ahmed is trying, and Miami gave him a shot. So stop trashing him. You think he wants to play bad? I'm not trashing him. What I'm saying is, and I'm proud of him and what he's been able to accomplish, because I've been here since he was a rookie contributor, rookie starter. What I am saying is that he needs to put on a better face for he needs to put on a better performance when the ball is carried and those opportunities to shine are there. Achane wasn't guaranteed anything. Ahmed got hurt. He got in the game and he balled and took every opportunity and maximized it. Then he did it again, and then he did it again. That's what elite players do. Savon Ahmed has not proven that he can do that.
Here's what I would say, because I defended at Baltimore 14-0 over Seattle. That's another year 6-2 teams. The thing what I will say is, and then I said this earlier, and I like Ahmed too. He's a nice dude. He doesn't get you generally much more than the play.
Whatever's blocked.
Could get credit, whatever the block is. And this is where, but like I said earlier today, there are instances where he's getting a pitch and he's got somebody in his grill. The second he gets the ball, that's not on him. And while Achane is a lot more explosive and Achane has shown the ability to break more tackles, it just seems it's like a convergence of bad circumstances that every time they call a play for Ahmed, it doesn't get blocked right, or there's somebody in his grill very quickly and he can't get anything done.
Maybe because they're telegraphing their plays with Ahmed.
Perhaps.
Pritam Chudhuri. Did I say it right? Pritam Chudhuri.
Here we go.
Pritam Chudhuri.
Stuck with Cotton and Liam the rest of the year. I did not like the look of that Robert Jones injury, to be honest with you. Immediately, like, he held his left knee.
Ooh, not the knee.
Was that the one that he got hurt in the preseason, or was it the right
knee? I think it's right.
Okay.
I think it's right. But yeah. Good catch. I'm curious to see how that plays out. Let's get to John.
I don't know what other options they have right now. I mean, it's not. Again, I'm sure Omar, you're going to throw out Lyle Collins, maybe Dalton Risner, who was available for half the seasons now with the Vikings, so that's not an option anymore. I'd have to
say. John C. Tua and McDaniel both confirmed it was a miscommunication with Wilson. And that's what happened when you play young, inexperienced players. It truly is.
Who's a young and experienced player?
Who is a young and inexperienced player? Wilson. He's not young, but he's inexperienced in terms of playing with Tua.
He's in his 5th year in the NFL, 2nd year with Tua.
Inexperienced with playing with Tua.
Okay. Yeah. No, but the ball came. The ball came out weird. I mean, that was a weird play. It was a weird play all around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see what we got here. Waddle injury update. Didn't he come back in the game? Or he wasn't in the game. He wasn't in the game at the end, I believe. Full disclosure, Omar, neither Omar nor I listened to Mike McDaniel
Yeah.
post-game press conference because we came right here, and chances are, I guess he didn't say anything. It's going to be the old, we'll see when we get back to Miami.
Yeah, if we we'll pay attention to it after this, but we felt like you folks wanted us here live after the game, so we obliged. Now we'll go and follow up and listen to what Mike McDaniel had to say, what Tua had to say. Anybody else coming to the podium, whether it's Tyreek or not. They got a long flight and a bye week, so hopefully they're not in a rush to get out of Germany. But we'll definitely see what happened. Oh yeah, did you?
Excellent point by Kelly right here. Excellent point.
Go for it.
Don't assume Chan would break huge runs against KC. It's not an apples to apples comparison. Ahmed might have gone nuts against Denver too. Absolutely excellent point, and I believe I said that in the aftermath of that Broncos game, which was completely crazy. Everything went haywire.
I apologize to the people already. I'm sorry. Ahmed wasn't going to go nuts against Denver. I just haven't seen anything in the exhibition season. I would have said yes.
Lot of open room that day.
People questioning Tua weirdly make me feel better. If this was shown up, oh, okay.
We already did this one.
Goodness gracious, how many? Am I behind on this chat?
Young Tay again. This is the first 30-minute was solid nonstop Tua bashing. Now it's calmed down quite a bit. Lots of sour people on here venting at the beginning. Oh, you mean in the chat? Okay, sorry. I hope I'm not talking about us because we were just.
Lord, and
200 yards.
You guys should be able to see the comments. So you see how many comments there are. And we're literally trying to find good question and comments. And people are back forth fighting and arguing. And this is what fan bases do. I look at one of my favorite times is the Legion and the Mob being in the blog community, in the blog spaces where people have discussions and dialogue. Twitter evolved to being that. And now with these live chats, you develop a character, you develop a personality. Half the time I know what your agenda is when you come here and talk. And, I haven't figured out who the Tuanon snitches are, but I got my eye on you. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm safe, but
I'm definitely not safe.
They're here like, what are you gonna say now? What can we jump on? Oh my gosh!
Right up your alley, Omar.
No, what is CM Punk? Oh, come on, CM, not you, CM Punk. That's my homeboy. What's happened to Chase Claypool? I prefer Robbie Chosen. You know what happened to Chase Claypool? He don't know the plays. He don't speak Spanish in Spain. Like, I can tell you what's happening.
You recovered a fumble though.
Yeah.
You did. I do hate that wide receiver screen where you pass the ball to the fastest player in the NFL and he's standing still at the line of scrimmage. James, let me ask you a question. Do you hate it when that play gains 12 to 15 yards? I mean, it can't be a go every single play, but I hear when it doesn't work, it looks really bad, and they call it, because you mentioned Tyreek's 8 catches today, but it was for 69 yards. I mean, he was not, got a couple of third down conversions, but he overall was not impacted.
Let's talk about these paid questions, because I gotta move on with my life. Phil Collins was in Genesis. Is that who was in Genesis?
Oh my God, are you serious? Yes, Phil Collins was in Genesis.
I know it was somebody great.
Phil Collins was the lead singer on that absolutely incredible song, which is called, if anybody wants to check it out, it's called Ripples, which is an absolute all-timer. And I will text you the link, Omar, for the 7th time.
I could see it coming in the air at night.
That was a solo song with a very famous drum interlude.
That's a dope song though. That it plays up before every football game. So
it is. It's cool. It's an okay song. What? Sorry.
I don't even like your genre, and that's a legendary song. Like, how dare you?
That's not progressive rock, though. And my genre is progressive rock. That's not progressive rock.
What is that?
I don't know what you would call it. Pop, rock, something like that. Okay, we need to wrap. I got to go. There's another one here. I think we don't think we've addressed this one. That might be the last one here.
What is that?
Defense great too, and not rising up to the big game. Do you think other teams are figuring out McDaniel's offense?
Yeah.
Well, it's one thing to figure it out. It's another thing to be able to stop it.
That's correct. They know those outside runs. Bam! They're shutting them things down, and then they had to throw the orbital motion into it. Kind of threw a wild card into it. They're counters for counters, but do teams know what Miami's trying to do and how they execute? You can't put things on film for 8 games and not think teams are going to game plan for it.
Correct. And they know how fast Tua Tyreek is. Doesn't mean they can keep up with him.
Yeah.
Do you say anything else we need to answer, Omar, before we?
Yeah. David Pililino. People aren't noticing that we aren't seeing the same lane since A-Chain went out. Okay, yeah, because you still don't have the same offensive line. But that's very valid and correct. It's not the same lanes. It's not the same offensive line. Hopefully, you'll get back there. I don't know where they're going to finish today, but they were still the number 1 rushing team in the league coming into this game, and we'll see where they stack up. They're still going to be top 5. So,
no, but here's the thing: I would caution Dolphin fans not to expect Achane to come back and all of a sudden he's going to rush for 150 yards every game.
Yeah.
He's got the potential to because of that beep speed he has.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as simple as, Achane's back, boom.
Yeah. Let's make sure people, and we appreciate you, that you hit the thumbs up to
my man.
Algorithm. I tremendously appreciate everybody showing up, everybody participating, everybody contributing. That's tremendous. We're still trying to build this. We're still trying to figure out this algorithm stuff. But for right now, just because of how special this episode has been and how much you folks mean to me, and I've had a rough weekend. Boy, have I had a rough weekend. I thank you, and I appreciate you. And Poop, I appreciate you. And I really want to continue to build this. And we will be here during the bye, feeding you, giving you material about the team that you love. And thank you, everybody, for your support. Visit alldolphins.com for the latest news, analysis, and columns, and it's all free. You can find Omar Kelly and Alan Poupard on the All Dolphins podcast discussing South Florida's NFL team on YouTube and anywhere you find your audio podcasts. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share so you stay in the know.